Old Man Cranky Gets a Job by Nudie Wilson. Narrated by Tom Sariski. Old Man Cranky was sitting under a tree, shoulders hunched over, his hands on his knees. There was nothing new here, believe me, because this is the way Old Cranky chose to be. Old Man Cranky was tall and reed thin. His hair sat on his head like silvered straight pins. He would walk around with a scowl on his face. Nothing and no one could knock that scowl out of place. Today was a day like any other day, with Old Cranky sitting under his tree, chewing his hay. He had no guests, no friends stopping by, because Old Man Cranky was so cranky he made people cry. But one fine day, a thought popped into his head. Maybe I won't sit here. I'll get a job instead. Some say Old Cranky had a job in the past, but being that he was so cranky, it did not last. The next day, Old Cranky got out of his bed, went through his routine, shirt, pants, socks, shoes, and hat on his head. Normally, he went and sat under his tree, for Old Cranky for years has been work-free. He would wake up each day, and with nothing to do, he would sit under the same tree and just chew on that hay, day after day. But today was different when Old Cranky got out of bed. He completed his routine, then put a hat on his head. Out onto his porch and through the gate he went, determined to get a job before the day was spent. So Old Man Cranky headed into town to find some work so he would not just be sitting around. He passed by a sign nailed to a wooden gate. The sign said, "Help wanted at this estate." The job was to pick apples. All types of apples, you see, for the estate had orchards filled with many, many apple trees. Old Man Cranky began the job right away. He picked and he picked apples throughout the day. As the sun began to set, all the pickers brought their loads. The boss had to check each basket before the apples were sent to be sold. When he got to Old Cranky, he grabbed an apple to check, but what he saw on the apples almost made him fall faint and hit the deck. The boss yelled, "I don't know what you've been doing, but look at my apples. They are all ruined." Every apple Old Man Cranky had picked had big, wiggly worms. Oh my goodness, ick! Old Man Cranky grabbed an apple and took a big bite. Not 1 ounce of pause or 1 ounce of fright. He turned to his boss and said, "Here's a big un. You should be happy. You're getting 2 for 1. Old Cranky continued with a smile. "Apples and worms equal fruit with a treat. These apples are perfectly fine, and 2 for 1 you can't beat." The boss's face got red, and he angrily bellowed, "Get out!" Old Cranky, scowling, turned to leave with a shout. "Glad to. I didn't want this job anyway. I'll rather be sitting under my tree, chewing my hay." He walked and walked till he got to his tree. He sat down, grabbed a straw of hay, and put his hands on his knees. He sat and he sat, but the boredom grew strong. He really didn't want to sit there all day long. So, Old Man Cranky decided to give it another try. He resolved to go back to town with a sigh. So, the next day, Old Cranky got out of his bed. He completed his routine and put a hat on his head. Out onto his porch and through the gate he went, once again determined to get a job before the day was spent. Old Man Cranky headed straight into town, looking for another job so he would not just be sitting around. He walked by a general store that sold all kinds of things. In the store window, a sign hiring for someone to give greetings. Easy enough, Old Man Cranky thought. He knew how to say hello and goodbye like the greeter the store sought. So inside he went to ask for the job. He was hired by the manager, some guy named Rob. Old Man Cranky was posted at the door. All was okay. That was until someone spilled something on the floor. "Cranky, can you get a mop and clean that up?" said Rob. "Absolutely not," Old Cranky replied. "What do I look like? That's not part of my job." Rob said to Cranky, "You are a part of this team. We all pitch in to make sure that the store stays clean." Cranky scoffed. "Not me. No, sir, and no way. He went to the back of the store, grabbed his hat, and was on his way. Once again, Old Cranky walked and walked till he got to his tree. He sat down, grabbed a straw of hay, and put his hands on his knees. He sat and he sat, but of course the boredom grew strong. He really and truly did not want to sit there all day long. So, Old Cranky decided to give it one more try. He resolved to go back to town with a great big sigh. The next day, Old Man Cranky went back into town. He made sure to keep his eyes up instead of his unusual down. He saw a help wanted sign. A coffee shop needed new staff. Coffee? I like coffee, Old Man Cranky thought and laughed. Crossing the street, he went inside to apply. They needed someone immediately, and Old Cranky did comply. He was given an apron, and off he was sent to take the orders from customers. On the patio he went. Old Cranky took a lady's order and went to get her tea. Once the order was filled, he hurried back with her chai tea. Looking at the tea, she thought, I think I'd change my mind. I want coffee, not tea instead this time. Old Cranky did a good job and just said, okay, and picked up his tray and went on his way. He came back to the table with the ordered hot drink, but the lady now said, wait a moment, let me think. Think? About what? Old Man Cranky replied. About this coffee, she said, setting the cup to the side. I think I want a soy latte instead. Old Man Cranky sighed heavily. He was starting to see red. But, to Old Cranky's credit, he gave it one more try. He went to place her order after a really big sigh. Back to the table he went with the lady's latte in hand. He set it before her, the soy latte that she did command. The lady again wrinkled her nose, her mouth in a pout. Well, I don't think I want, she started, but did not get another word out. Old Man Cranky screamed, that's it! I am over this! I'm going home! I quit! He grabbed his hat and stormed out of the door, and his boss and co-workers saw him no more. He walked and walked till he got to his tree, grabbed a piece of hay, and sat down, putting his hands on his knees. He sat there, just staring at the ground, chewing his hay, not making a sound. Yes, he was bored, but that was okay. He was not getting another job. No way! All that drama and all that worry, Old Man Cranky wanted none of it, and he was not sorry. Under his tree and chewing on his hay was how Old Man Cranky preferred to spend his day. This has been Old Man Cranky Gets a Job by Nudie Wilson, narrated by Tom Sarisky.